Here are a variety of memorable and insightful quotes from Peter Dinklage, lines from interviews and his iconic role as Tyrion Lannister. I've compiled many without numbering, letting them flow naturally. You should never believe a thing simply because you want to believe it. The true history of the world is the history of great conversations. It's hard to put a leash on a dog. Once you've put a crown on its head. The powerful have always preyed on the powerless, that's how they became powerful in the first place. Sleep is good and books are better. A mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone if it is to keep its edge. Never forget what you are, the rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor and it can never be used to hurt you. Death is so final, yet life is full of possibilities. Well, my brother has his sword, and I have my mind. That's why I read so much, Jon Snow. When you tear out a man's tongue, you are not proving him a liar, you're only telling the world that you fear what he might say. If you want justice, you've come to the wrong place. I waited a long time out in the world before I gave myself permission to fail. Don't bother telling the world you are ready. Show it, do it. Bad guys are complicated characters. So I won't say I'm lucky, I'm fortunate enough to find or attract very talented people. Maybe everyone is a little too reassuring that things are going to be okay to college graduates, it gives them a false sort of security. I don't socialize, I'm kind of a hermit. The life of an actor can be very lonely. I hate that word, lucky. It cheapens a lot of hard work. You can say no, you cannot be the object of ridicule. But the older you get, you realize you just have to have a sense of humor. You just know that it's not your problem. It's theirs. I spend my nights just sitting and reading a book and drinking my tea and walking my dog. That's about as exciting as my life gets. Any swagger is just defense, you wear it proudly, like armor. I like animals, all animals, that's why I'm a vegetarian. I think a lot of great male comic actors are introspective, quiet personalities, but they are really able to turn it up when the camera's on. When I was younger, I let it get to me. I was bitter and angry, but as I got older, I realized you just have to have a sense of humor. It's not your problem, it's theirs. These selections reflect the intelligence, humor, and self-awareness that define Dinklage's public persona. Let me know if you'd like quotes from his stage work or more from interviews. Here are more quotes from Peter Dinklage, insights from interviews and reflections on life and work, flowing more naturally, without headings or numbering. I hate that word, lucky. It cheapens a lot of hard work, especially when you've done plays in Brooklyn apartments with no heat and paid for dinner with dimes. I waited a long time out in the world before I gave myself permission to fail. Please don't bother asking. Don't bother telling the world you are ready. Show it, do it. Bad guys are complicated characters. It's always fun to play them, you get away with a lot more when you don't live by a heroic code. I love animals. All animals. I wouldn't hurt a cat or a dog, or a chicken, or a cow, that's why I'm a vegetarian. I dress and eat like a fifth grader, basically. I like sandwiches and cereal and hooded sweatshirts. I was fortunate enough to have an upbringing that made me more accepting of who I am. When you're reminded so much of who you are by people, because of my size, growing up, you can either curl up in a corner or wear it proudly like armor. Any swagger is just defense. Maybe everyone is a little too reassuring that things are going to be okay. To college graduates, it gives them a false sort of security. I don't socialize, I'm kind of a hermit. The life of an actor can be very lonely. Call me a midget but just be real. I am all for correct terms, but please don't tiptoe around feelings. Don't be too careful, because that shuts you off from people. I think if actors are successful at one thing, they paint themselves into a corner sometimes. What's the fun in that? I just think the less you know about an actor, the more seriously you'll take them. You want them to disappear into the role. Never be afraid to take risks, that's where the magic happens. Imagination is the key that unlocks hidden doors. Without imagination, our lives would be devoid of innovation, art, and progress. There's no shame in being associated with Game of Thrones. It was 8 seasons, that's 80 hours of me. Everybody globally got 80 hours of Dinklage, it's bound to follow me around. He playfully defends the divisive God ending. Something's going wrong if everything goes right. diverse opinions mean you've done something well. During filming, his co-star Charles Dance would offer a very paternal shoulder touch between intense scenes of Tywin and Tyrion, a gesture Dinklage cherished. Early in his career, he refused roles as elves or leprechauns, even though it was hard to find work. That insistence shaped who he became. These convey the depth, humor, and resilience that define Dinklage both on screen and in life. Let me know if you'd like more, perhaps from specific interviews, roles, or about his stage work. Here are more quotes from Peter Dinklage, blending his thoughtful reflections, humor, and memorable on-set moments, flowing naturally without numbering. Wear your original self as armor. You can turn it on its head and use it yourself before anybody else gets a chance. The world might not be ready for your greatness, but don't let that stop you from achieving it. The greatest thing you can do for yourself is to embrace who you are. I do not fault anyone else who makes choices to play characters that they wished they hadn't, because at the end of the day, none of us are happy with our jobs all the time. I like playing the guy on the sidelines. They have more fun. I love working with the same actors repeatedly. That happens a lot, you gravitate towards each other. Being on television, playing the same character for many years, for me, I think that would get a little tedious. That's one of the things about theater versus film, once you're done shooting, anything can happen, you know. He shared a touching glimpse of his bond with co-star Charles Dance. Greater than, he would just like, between every take, he would come over and just gently touch me on the shoulder. It felt very paternal too. From a candid Reddit reflection on fame and identity, it was 8 seasons. So that's 80 hours of me. Everybody globally, everybody got 80 hours of Dinklage. It's bound to follow me around. On challenging stereotypes, during the Snow White remake controversy he spoke out, "What the F are you doing there? You're still making that backward story about 7 dwarfs living in a cave together." Each quote highlights a facet of Dinklage's philosophy, embracing one's identity, valuing authenticity, and navigating fame with grace and intention. If you'd like quotes from his stage work or specific interviews, I can continue.